Okay, we're here with Mr. Ars Technica. Hello, introduce yourself, Ken.
Hi, I'm Ken Fisher. I'm the editor-in-chief of Ars Technica.
So, I love Ars Technica. I think it's one of the biggest tech blogs, if not the biggest, and it's also one that doesn't get a lot of attention in Silicon Valley necessarily, in sort of the ridiculous echo chamber that we have there that we like to enjoy. What you started it many years ago. You're a Harvard religious studies major, correct?
That's right. We started ours in 1998. I was bored one day in graduate school and just decided, well, I could do this technology thing. I'd had a career in IT for a long time, and so I reached out to the most technical guys I knew and said, well, we can run the servers, we can code HTML ourselves. We were being paid to do it at the time, so let's just do this. And it started as a hobby and stayed as much for maybe the first 6 years of the site.
Now you have many millions of people on there, tens of millions of page views, everything like that, and it's not so techy like a Slashdot. How would you position yourself? Because you have a lot of tech news. It's quite accurate, which is one of the reasons I like it. I have an issue with inaccuracy. It's well done. It's very aimed at your audience. How do you look at the site from your perspective? How do you look at it now, today?
I look at the site really as a community of like-minded people. We have a joke running amongst the editors that ours is a lot like a university, and that it brings together people with similar appreciations for learning and for new topics, but not necessarily homogeneity. We have a sizable Apple subcommunity, sizable Linux subcommunity, etc. Of course, Windows is still the default. But we really believe that bringing all these people together in one place and trying to make them communicate to each other and learn from each other is ultimately what it lifts all boats, as it were.
Right. Well, you have that fancy title, Ars Technica. Define it for the people, please, because we're idiots in Silicon Valley.
Well, so it's an attributive construction in Latin, which means art of technology. Now, if you've had a couple of years of Latin, you could fight with me over this and say that it's not declined.
No, I'm not going to do that if you don't mind. I haven't had a couple of years of Latin.
But I can assure you it is quite accurate. But we decided in 1998 that we would make a site that would be attractive enough that we could choose a really obscure name and people would still come back.
Now, 1998, you've been around forever. I mean, you're way before all this sort of trend among bloggers and everything. What's changed in the technology content sector and also in technology in general?
Many, many things have changed. I suppose what's changed the most, or at least what I appreciate the most, is that technology has become increasingly personalized. And so now, whether it's your RSS feeds delivering just what you want to read, or it's your operating system, which you can, hopefully the manufacturer developer has enabled you to customize it, but if not, these days you can hack it anyway. The focus towards the individual and the individual's needs at any given time has really, I think, been great, because technology, when I think of my first computer, which was a 286, even at that time, things were already, you could say, in their heyday, but we were looking at technology quite differently then. One size fits all was quite common. There certainly weren't that many options in software. If you were developing, there weren't that many options in languages on the PC, etc. Now opportunity options abound, and so there's such a renewed interest on what makes a technology distinctive and what kind of distinctive uses can you do with just the same thing. The same technology can be used in different ways. Look at RSS. You can power so many things with RSS.
Sure, absolutely.
So that to me has been what is my most favorite thing about what's happened in the last few years. But a very close second would be the awareness around issues of intellectual property. And I think
you guys write about the RAA a lot.
We write about, intellectual property issues are huge, and they're easy to do poorly. They're difficult to do well. We put a very strong emphasis on knowing the law and consulting with experts, etc. Because as our digital lives start to consume more and more of our non-digital lives, these intellectual property issues are going to become
absolutely.
larger
I agree with you. The problem is you're interviewing Hollywood people, and you don't spend a lot of time out there. You don't spend a lot of time in California in general. Why did you locate here in Boston besides being at Harvard and Divinity School?
Part of it was just the chance of where we were located. Now most of the company's actually in Chicago, but we don't have a big presence on the left coast, as it were, and that's mostly because we believe really firmly that there's innovation and exciting things happening all over the country, and that in fact I might even be a hair heretical and suggest that there are far more interesting things happening outside of Silicon Valley than are happening in it alone.
What are you talking about? We're the most important people in the world with the biggest brains.
Well,
didn't you hear that?
Certainly the most important. No one will.
Self-important is actually the correct word, especially among tech bloggers. But it does sort of give you a different kind of attitude because you sort of straddle a line between geek and more commercial, more consumer kind of thing.
How I would characterize it is that a lot of the more popular San Francisco publications that purport to be about technology, they're actually about people. They're about who you know and who you're with and who you're hanging out with and who you saw last week and who you heard mention something when they were too drunk one day. And all of that's fine and interesting, but we're focused on technology and how it affects culture, and that's not a people story. Not on the level of like TMZ.
Right.
And so,
I like TMZ. Don't insult TMZ.
Well, in that case.
They cover Britney Spears like it's the Iran-Iraq war. You understand that, and I think that's laudable to me as far as I'm concerned.
Well, people need distractions.
Yes, indeed. So in terms of where this is all going, tech content on the web, all sorts of content on the web, what's your prediction? My final question for you.
My prediction is that video is very important, but
which you hardly do on there.
Yes, which we don't do a lot of. We will do more in the future, but I actually predict that long-form journalism is going to return in a big way.
Oh, I like this. This is good.
And that the written word will still be appreciated 15 years from now, including 3-syllable words.
Not those.
And complex sentence structures and all the rest. I really believe that the written word and written language will flourish. Video is important. We're going to do video. But I do think that there's a place for long-form journalism.
Excellent. This is why I love you, Mr. Ars Technica guy. I think you're absolutely right. Thank you so much.
Cheers.